Hey everybody, it's Dina Rico with the Creativity Cave, and I'm excited to stamp with you today. I always am, but today is of course no different. But I have 3 beautiful cards that I created, and I hope that you're going to love them because they're pretty awesome. I mean, if I can just say. So first of all, I have to show this shimmer and glimmer because this never comes through in my photos that are on my blog. Of course, all the dimensions, supplies, and colors and whatnot are all on my blog post, and the description is in the link. Pardon me. The link is in the description of this video. Sorry, I'm out of breath because I just ran upstairs to grab these cards. I had brought them upstairs with me, and long story short, I left them up there and I needed them back down here so I could stamp these for you. Okay, so I'm going to start with this card because this was the first one that I actually made when I sat down to do this, and I'm using a couple of great things. First off, I'm using the Penned and Painted stamp set. This is on the discontinued list, which kind of surprised me because it is really a versatile set, and there's a lot you can do with this set. And it's got this cute little ladybug, because who doesn't like that? Although I did not put that in any of my cards, but still. The thing that I really like about this is it's a 3-step stamp, but you don't have to use all 3 steps. You can use these 2 together, these 2 together, this on its own. There's a lot of options that you have with that 3-step process, I guess. It allows you to both watercolor or to stamp and get the watercolor look, because if you can see, this kind of has that cool watercolory texture that's embedded in the rubber so that when you stamp it, it comes out that way. Also, there are 2 different flowers. Then there's the stem. There's these little dots that also give you all kinds of options. This cute little center, and then leaves, because of course leaves are awesome. Now, let me show you how I started with this card. And you might laugh because this is so how I stamp sometimes. So first of all, I have, and let me make sure I have the right piece. Yeah. I started with a color combination that I was actually doing in my Facebook Live yesterday, and that was actually I have it right here, sort of. My ink has gotten spread out. Well, I was working on something for a second here. When inspiration strikes, you have to go with it. So I stopped what I was doing. I was setting up for this video, and then I thought of something, stopped setting up for the video, made my project, which actually you're going to see on Thursday for a Paper Pumpkin blog hop. And then I came back to this. That's kind of how things go here sometimes. I just go with it. Okay, so my color combination is this one: Sweet Sugar Plum Pear Pizzazz, So Saffron Pool Party, and Early Espresso. All 3 of these cards use exactly that color combination, though I don't have all the colors in all the cards. But anyway, I love the Early Espresso, especially with the Sweet Sugar Plum. I think it's a great contrast, which of course is what I was bringing out on this first card. Okay, I also took and embossed this with a new embossing folder called, I think it's called Oh My Stars. It'll be in the new catalog. And I don't think this is very starish. I think it's kind of flowery, but we would never say anything. So you can have it embossed or debossed, depending on which way you fold your card. I kind of like the debossed. Be original, try something new. That is my thing. So I have this debossed side up, and I really like the way it looks. So I'm going to set this aside while we do the stamping. Now, the stamping is awesome, and what I love about Stampin' Up! Is they have put little clues in the stamps for us so that we can see how they actually come together. And what those clues are, first of all, I like keeping the case handy, because I can see that these 3 stamps go together across here, and they are meant to work with one another. Same with these 3 stamps, because sometimes when you look at these 2, it's a little tricky to see which way they're supposed to go. The other thing they've included in here are these little tabs of photopolymer that are kind of built into the stamp. And those tabs tell you what direction the stamping alignment is. So for instance, I know if my 2 arrows are sticking out in the same direction, they're going to line up correctly. P.S. Don't stack your photopolymer stamps. You'll never get them apart. But that's how I know which way they're supposed to be oriented. So when I go to stamp them, this is what happens. I've got my piece of cardstock here, and I'm going to take And I'm going to ink up the most solid one. I'll stamp off the first layer, and look at that texture you get from stamping. And then I'm just going to stamp one here, and I'll stamp off a second, and then stamp that up here. Okay, so I have 2 beautiful flowers stamped so far. Then I know that I had it oriented, like I said, basically the same, where that arrow is pointing off in that direction. It's between these 2 petals. And then I see this arrow, so I want to make sure that it is pointing in that same direction. Okay, now I did my cardinal rule of don't, which is I stamped the arrow. Let me show you one more time. This is what happens when you get too chatty while you're stamping. Got to concentrate a little. I mean, I'm good, but okay. So first of all, I'm going to wipe off the ink, and then I'm going to stamp it, and there. I wasn't rocking as much. Okay, perfect. So there I have my 2 kind of centers to my flower. Love it. I'm going to continue with the other flower that's in the stamp set. That's this one. And I'm going to change colors to be Pool Party. And I'll do the same thing here. I'm going to align my flower. Oops, I was supposed to stamp that off. Darn it. Gosh, I'm having problems today. I don't know why. There we go. Maybe it's because I'm not copying my sample. I should follow my own advice. I should also keep stamping what I'm supposed to be stamping. Okay, so there. And by the way, another tip is when you put these stamps on the block, I recommend making sure they're oriented on the block the same way. So if it's pointing, you know, in the one direction on the block, have it point that same direction for both images, because then it's easier to line up. Okay, so now I stamped both of those. This one I forgot to stamp off the first layer, so it's a little bit darker. So I just stamped the on top part twice to make that a little darker and richer in color. Okay, now this is screaming for some greenery. So let's add that. Here we go. I'm using Pear Pizzazz, and as usual, I will get rid of my first layer of ink on these because I don't need it. Let's make sure that's still in the view. And then I'll even put a little up here like that. Okay. And then we'll do the detail right over the top, full strength. And this just makes it so pretty, I think. It really makes those leaves stand out and look gorgeous. Okay, now I really think the true part of this that is really impressive is actually the center. We're going to stamp that in Early Espresso. But first I want to stamp my sentiment. And the reason is I did this a few times when I was making this card. I stamped it a couple times before I got the sentiment right because I want to make sure my sentiment is on there, not covering up or broken up by the center piece. And you'll see what I mean in just a second. So I'm going to stamp Live, Laugh, Love on there. This, by the way, is from the set Layering Love, which has really pretty sentiments in it. You could stamp any of these on top here, by the way. I just like Live, Laugh, Love. So then, now that I've got that on there, now I'm going to add my center pieces. And the reason I wanted to wait was I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to block the words and it was going to get too busy and you couldn't read it. So that's why I waited. So look at how gorgeous this is. Doesn't this just really make those flowers come alive? Oh, I love it. Love it. Okay, but we're not done. We're going to do two more things to really richen this up a little bit. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take some Pear Pizzazz ink and sponge it around the edges. And this just kind of enriches the color. Now, I'm not really going on any of the flowers. In fact, I'm kind of staying off of them. But anywhere there's white space along the edge or leaves, I'm going to add a little bit of green to just kind of richen that up. Okay, so there we go. I think that just really makes things pop. And then the last step, of course, I'm sure you knew this was coming, is my clear Wink of Stella is going to go on all of the flowers. Now I want to make sure that I'm not going over the words really. And then I also want to be careful because sometimes Wink of Stella can pick up color and transfer it. So I want to make sure that I'm not picking up color. I was doing some cards the other day and it was totally picking up color. And I was going from like, I was using the new In Colors and I was going from Berry Burst, which is a pretty intense color. And then I was going into So Saffron after, and yeah, it was smearing. Okay. So now I've got lots of shimmer on here. Look at how beautiful that is. Now you're also going to like this next part. So I have a little bit of a different color layer. I put this piece right over the top of basically the same size piece, just sticking out on the top and the bottom, not an even mat all the way around. This is paper I had left over from a class. Don't remember what the project was, but it was leftover paper and I had it sitting here, so I thought I would use it rather than cut a full mat, and I kind of like the look. It's just a little different. Just got to put it on here straight because it does sort of line right up. Don't you hate when this happens? It does line right up, so I want it to be even top to bottom. There we go. And then I'm going to place this on my card. But first I wanted to add a little bit more sparkle. So I've got some silver metallic thread. Now to adhere this to my card, I'm going to put a little line of it at the top and the bottom. I'll put that piece, the end touching in my adhesive. Fast Fuse is really good for this. Also, you could use your snail. Then I'm going to touch the other end in that. And there we go. Trim that off. And that just adds a little bit of sparkle. It's not a ton. It's not like a ton of sparkle, but it is a little something something, which I just love. Of course, we're going to pop it up because it would just be wrong not to. I actually think my sample, I did not pop it up, so don't tell anybody. And then I will just adhere this. Now the rest of the cards I did basically in the same manner. I just changed up the colors a little bit, but I used the same colors with the same stamps for the most part. So here you can see I did just the pool party, and then I did the sponging around the edges. I stamped "Thank you so much." Oh, there's one other thing I did do though, and that was I did spritz this. So take something, a pen or a scissors, just something you can smack your Wink of Stella against. And I'm smacking my Wink of Stella on here. This one is literally about out. I've refilled it, I think, twice now. So I might have to break down and get another one. Let's see. Yep, this one has some in there. Okay. Woo! There we go. It's coming out much better. Now, do you see all those little spritzel sparkles on there? I love the look, and I think it really makes the shimmer come through. So anyway, I did the same thing on here. I colored right on and gave sparkle on the flowers, but then I spritzed it as well. The sentiment is from Thankful Thoughts. And then here is one more card. This time I used the same flower I have in Sweet Sugar Plum here. I used that in So Saffron. I also stamped the outline instead of the detail image that I have here. You could also stamp the detail in with this if you wanted. It doesn't matter. I did the 3 different ones on the leaves, and I think it's cool. Now, my favorite part of this is I just stamped that border of dots. This image, I just stamped that along here to kind of add a little bit more color to this so that it wasn't so plain, and I love the way it looks. Of course, we could spritz this one too, because I don't think anything is wrong with spritzing your cards. The more spritz, the merrier, right? I think most girls would agree that that is true. So anyway, those are my 3 cards. I hope you loved them. All the photos, again, can be found on my blog. This stamp is on the retiring list, and yesterday was the last day. It was guaranteed in stock, so make sure you get your order in right away so you don't miss out. Thank you so much, guys. Have an awesome day, and I can't wait to stamp with you again soon. Bye.